Breaking, Hannity Fisa memo released next week, and even more stunning revelations by Jim Hoft for thegatewaypundit.com. Fox News host Sean Hannity broke the news on Friday night that the explosive Fisa memo will be released next week. Sarah Carter said, "We expect that to be out sometime mid-week." Sean Hannity added, "Next week will be a massive news week, the memo, and even more stunning revelations."
Historians are going to look back on this period as schizophrenic insanity. On the one hand, you have genuine FBI information coming out about clearly covering up for Hillary Clinton in ways that are astonishing, which probably won't make page one of the New York Times. On the other hand, you have a non-story about a non-event. I mean, if the president didn't actually fire Mueller, even if the president got really angry and said, "Gee, I'd love to fire Mueller," there was no event there. Now, the idea that the president somehow is culpable of not liking Mueller and that is somehow going to be, an obstruction of justice, it tells you how desperate the left is getting.
Former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich calling out the schizophrenic insanity surrounding the treatment of President Trump. Joining us now with more reaction from Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton, and Fox News contributor Sarah Carter. Sarah, a non-story about a non-event. I think that pretty much sums up the media hysteria yesterday. But what they missed yesterday was what you were reporting and we were reporting, and that is just how abusively biased Strzok and Page were, and how many people were in the loop knowing that the fix was in as it relates to doing a real investigation into Hillary Clinton before they interviewed her. Exonerations before any investigation. So, that's got to be frustrating as you have been unpeeling every layer of this onion.
Well, it's very frustrating, Sean, because what we see is leaks come out. So as information comes out about the FBI, about these text messages between these two FBI agents, Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, and as more evidence starts to unravel, you get a leak like this that goes to the New York Times. And it's really a non-story because the president has every right to question whether or not, Special Counsel Mueller is right for this job. He has every right to discuss this privately with his attorneys. And as we see, nothing happened. So he didn't fire Special Counsel Mueller. He talked with someone about the circumstances apparently around Special Counsel Mueller. So there was no order to actually fire him. And I think what's really frustrating is that the American people are not getting well informed by all of these very important news agencies. I mean, the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC, they're not focused on these stories. And right now, what we know is that the FBI, and let's go back to the story we just talked about the other day, Sean, the fact that the FBI and the DOJ said, "Oh, we lost all of these 5 months of text messages through a technical glitch and you won't be able to get them." And then all of a sudden, now they have them. We have to ask, why did they say that to begin with? What are they hiding? What is going on? It's our job to be the watchdog.
Why did Rod Rosenstein, just hours before the House Intel Committee was going to get the subpoenaed documents, was he begging Paul Ryan, please don't release this? Tom Fitton, one of the roles that Judicial Watch has played, I think, has been very key in getting information. I know you file a lot of Freedom of Information Act requests, but think about this. All right, so I hope, it looks like we'll get the memo next week, probably mid-week after the State of the Union. But why do we have to wait to get the 50,000 text messages? Why not release them? All right, they would have a right maybe to look for information that could put somebody in harm's way. Fair enough, but that doesn't take that long.
That's exactly right. We've been asking we have numerous requests to which these text messages are probably responsive, and lawsuits, and we've been getting the runaround. We've been asking about them since we found out about it. We asked the Justice Department and FBI what's going on here, and they basically told us, if you want them, sue us again. And, we did sue them. We asked for the text messages, we sued, and a few hours later they found them. This is about, this news story that was planted this week about the President Trump's concerns about Mueller, the text messages, the gamesmanship there, the Justice Department fighting the House on releasing a summary memo of this underlying material. It's all about protecting the Mueller operation. And what I think the headline is in the New York Times and Washington Post is, Mueller has conflicts that have been unaddressed. He, for instance, is investigating the firing of Comey, the very job opening for which he interviewed. Why is he anywhere near this investigation given that conflict? And why is the president the one having to raise it? Where's the Justice Department, Rod Rosenstein, and making sure that Mueller is unbiased and conflict-free?
The Daily Beast to say Rosenstein, Comey, and McCabe are all in this memo we'll see next week. That's the one link we got on it. All right, Sarah, you and I have discussed, next week's a big news week. Even the memo is only a small portion of what's coming out in this case. You know, where I know you are in the middle of two big investigative reports that I think you'll be breaking next week. One about Andrew Weissman, if I'm allowed to tip your hand for you.
You did.
Being the nice guy that I am. What's coming next week, and how big do you think this memo ends up being?
Well, first, it is true. I think, you know, we need to focus on the members of the special counsel. And Andrew Weissman, Sean, has come up over and over again, and he's very important because he's a central part of the investigation. So I do have something coming out next week with regard to Andrew Weissman. Another very important facet, another story that's going to be out next week is, of course, the Fisa memo, and we expect that to be out sometime after the State of the Union in midweek, and it's explosive. And I know this not just from talking to congressional members, but other law enforcement officials who have gone to Congress as whistleblowers about Fisa abuse cases. This should shock every American, and this is a way to keep our country in check. And you're right, it's one part of so many more pieces of this puzzle, because remember, a lot of this information, Sean, is classified. It's classified information, so we can't get our hands on it. So they'll go ahead and put out the pieces redacted, I think, after the Fisa memo.
Sure, quickly,
real quick, Tom, I got to roll.
Andrew Weissman, the number two at Mueller's operation, sent an email supporting Sally Yates' attack on Trump's order, refusal to follow it, went to Hillary Clinton's election night party. Why is he anywhere near this investigation?
And he leaked information about Paul Manafort before he started investigating Paul Manafort to the AP. So many conflicts with all of them, and it's all beginning to come together. Next week will be a massive news week on top of the State of the Union and the memo being released. All right, when we come...
You know, it's a shame because, in other words, Judicial Watch has to sue for everything. Like, what is our Justice Department doing? Nothing. They're corrupt. So, in other words, we're paying a corrupt FBI. Meanwhile, Judicial Watch has to go and sue for this information. I mean, it's crazy. But once they release this memo, maybe a lot of the swamp will be drained after that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.